Hi, my name's Logan Ryan, and this is my story of how I decided to become a teacher in an urban school setting. On a professional level, I have a lot of experience working with kids, but I'll focus on my time at the Boys and Girls Club of Oakland on High Street. At that site, I coached basketball, and I was coaching kids who were, the majority of them were from tough neighborhoods in East Oakland, and that included Brookfield, Elmhurst, Fruitvale, and San Antonio. And overall, I loved the experience. I was working with kids who had difficult home lives, and as a coach at that area, we had very limited resources. We often had four balls for like 30 to 50 kids. And I feel that experience of working with kids with difficult home lives and limited resources definitely prepared me for what I'm trying to go into now as a teacher in an urban school setting. From an educational standpoint, I studied kinesiology with an emphasis in physical education, teacher education at Sacramento State University. So I've been moving on a path towards teaching since I started that in 2015. And although the program focused on physical education, it definitely gave me transferable skills in teaching, such as lesson planning, curriculum planning, and intro level class management. So I feel like that was good preparation for teaching that I'm now trying to move into. On a personal level, I feel like I connect well with all people, but in this context, I'll focus on my experience with people from urban areas. A lot of my friends from my childhood and my young adult years were from urban areas. One of my best friends is from North Richmond. Two of my best friends, childhood best friends, are from East Oakland. And I also had other friends from school and mutual friends that were from Vallejo, San Francisco, West Pittsburgh, Antioch, urban areas like that. Like I said, I played basketball growing up, and I played for youth teams based in Oakland. And in junior college, most of my teammates were from either Oakland or Richmond, Vallejo, San Francisco, Berkeley, Hayward, West Pittsburgh, Antioch, Sacramento. So, I spent a lot of time with people from urban areas. And on a more personal note, I feel like I can relate to some of the issues that students might be facing who are in an urban school setting. Growing up, I grew up in a single parent household. It was primarily my mom and my sister and myself. Money was tight growing up. I remember when my mom was furloughed over summers, money being very, very tight, food being very, very tight. I was hungry a lot, so I can relate to that, especially teaching at a Title I school, as I plan to do. I know, kids are going to be very hungry, just point blank. Some other issues I faced, I've lost two friends to gun violence, two childhood friends to gun violence. And I had a fair amount of childhood friends who spent time in juvenile hall or jail, something that I'm sure students in urban school settings can relate to. And I also went to school, middle school and high school, with people who had ties to either Serrano or Norteño gangs. I grew up near Concord, California, so we have a high incidence of that in Concord and Pittsburgh and Antioch. And I know that's something that the kids I coach at Alexander Twilight Secondary Academy in Sacramento, an Aspire school, I know a lot of my kids have to deal with that. So, I can relate to some of the problems that kids in an urban school setting are going to have to face. Some successes that I'm proud of, I just recently graduated from Sac State, and I graduated with cum laude honors, so I'm very proud of that. I played intercollegiate basketball. I've been a youth basketball league director. I did that, I think I was 22 at the time. And I just finished my first season as a varsity boys head basketball coach at Aspire, Alexander Twilight. And we won 5 games in our first year, so I'm proud of that. And I've also received a lot of compliments from administration on the growth of character in our student athletes, and I'm very proud of that. Some obstacles I faced, I was in a very severe car accident when I was 14 that left me with severe head trauma. I spent 5 days in the hospital. I got new teeth out of that. All of the skin basically came off, and that was a very difficult obstacle I had to overcome, especially with cognitive difficulties. I've torn my ACL twice, and that was what ended my collegiate basketball career. and there was a lot of depression that came from that, and mobility issues, basketball playing issues, self-esteem issues. I mean, that was a very difficult time for me. And one instance in particular that I can think of was when I tore my ACL. My car had just broken down a week before I tore it, so I didn't have a car, but I still needed to get to school in Pittsburgh, which is a 20-minute drive from Pleasant Hill. So I took BART and I took bus when I was on crutches and in a knee brace. So that was a 2-hour commute each way on the bus and BART, and that was not easy, not at all. But I feel like it made me mentally stronger and also a little bit more resilient. That's skills that have helped me going forward. And luckily I had tremendous resources in my mom and sister to help me out with rides and also emotional support. So I'm very, very thankful for that. So I hope this video gave you a little bit of insight into who I am and why I'd be a great candidate for the ATR program. And I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks. Bye.